ran yesterday and the day before, where 550 students were caught in a swoop, and they were in drugs, alcohol, and all sorts of things. Are these some of the ripple effects that we are experiencing because of the strike? This is just after the strike was called off, when they were supposed to go back on Monday. Here is Sunday, and they're in a nightclub between 1 and 6 p.m. In terms of the story, David Ohito, and could this be one of the ripple effects that we should expect over time?
I would want to read it not as a teacher strike effect, but as a societal breakdown effect. That the speed at which our country is rolling its moral fabric, moral standing is very fast, and we must start addressing it. We have seen such things even when teachers are not on strike, so we cannot peg it on teachers.
It cannot be pegged on that.
The other day, the matatu that was caught somewhere, was it in Karatina? Yes.
Same thing.
Yes. And we failed to follow up that story. We don't know whether the people were charged and people were really held responsible. And that's why I agree with Gadara when he says we touch on the issue for 1-2 days and forget it for the rest of our time. We should really be investigating how could an owner of a club allow this to happen. 2, we've been having my good friend Mutudo making yapping noise all the time. Where was he and his officers? Is he just another talking shop, or do they have any muscle? Don't we have police officers? Is there not a county commissioner in that office, in that city? Is there not an education officer or even a children's rights officer who can say this is wrong? And you could see parents or adults saying we see this happening here every day, which means either those who are charged with responsibility have gone to sleep, or we've just given up.
Okay, I think I completely agree with him. The bigger issue for me also is that place is right next to the police station. So they can't really claim they didn't know what was going on over there for that long. And also, it's not the first place like that. I mean, I know of many pubs that are right next to police stations, or sometimes in the police station, that just flout all kinds of rules. So the enforcement of all these things, the rules are there, the enforcement is a problem. So why are they not being enforced?
So what role do we play in ensuring that happens, and especially given that, like you said, this is right opposite a police station? What does that say about our enforcers?
They are either being compromised, or they're just not doing their job. I would really lean on the compromise aspect of it. And also, I mean, the most we can do as journalists is just highlight and force them to act. Now they've been forced to act.
Sure.
And hopefully we can talk about these issues, because it's a bigger issue. We have all seen how sometimes you see parents who take their kids to the bar. And there are rules against that, but they're so often flouted. Many pubs on Sundays you'll see the son is taken by the father. Let's go together. Let's spend some time together with me at the bar. And there needs to be a discussion about that, because it happens quite often.
All right, Gadara.
I think there are 2 issues I would highlight. First is the coherence of the laws that we have, and whether they actually reflect the reality that is there, and whether they are enforceable. I think when it comes to drinking, especially among minors, I mean, there are some pretty strict rules about those. And we should be asking them where is the enforcement element, of this. If we read some of the details in the story, were quite disturbing. That people's phones were taken away. The kids weren't allowed to make calls from inside, the place. That this is a regular thing. That they have a jam session, as they said, every Sunday afternoon. So questions about the access that kids have to these sorts of facilities, which is in essence illegal, shouldn't be allowed. But it happens right next to a police station. So we really need to ask about that. The second thing is about generally our education of our kids. We've had a situation where as a society we seem to reject the idea that kids should be taught about sex, about these things. We kind of like to bury our heads in the sand on these sorts of issues. I think that it's important we start asking, what is it that our kids should know? course, they're gonna. We were all young at some point. You know, we did some pretty awful things. You know, the world really hasn't changed that much. The youth will be youth. They will go out and experiment and stuff. Question is, are we equipping them for that with the knowledge they need to have, with the tools they need to have? You know, whether it is how to handle peer pressure, the sorts of temptations that might come their way, whether it's sex education, you know, etc. We seem to shy away from these things to sort of say, if we don't say anything about it, then they won't know.
They won't know.
You know, they're doing this. We know kids as young as 14, 15 are having sex.
Yeah, they're actually from
you know,
12 to